Hello friends, and welcome to another Make It Monday Facebook Live. Sorry, I feel the need to adjust the camera. I am Jamie Sales, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, coming to you on Monday, September 15th, 2025. Let me refresh my page, make sure we're actually up and running before I get too far into things. And I'll ask you to please say hello, whether you're watching live or the replay. It's always nice to know who's here with me. Tonight, what I have for you is several fairly quick projects using one new stamp set. And it's a set that has what we call reversible stamps. So I'm going to show you what we mean by that. But before we do that, I wanted to mention that right before we jumped on, hi Emily, thanks for being here, thanks for sharing. I did the drawing for last week's card. Anyone who comments, hits the like button, or y'all get your name in the hat for that drawing. If you choose to share the video, your name goes in twice. So, don't have the card right in front of me that I did last week. Here's the start of it. This is the one I didn't finish, but the one where I did the little rectangle folds and made that kind of an origami quilted look. Did the drawing for that, and Marty, your name came up, so congratulations. Thanks for everyone who interacted with last week's video. Marty, I'll stick that in the mail to you. And then I realized I never did the drawing for the week prior to that. That was the week that I did the video pre-recorded through YouTube, and I shared the link here. And Donna, you get that one, so I will give that one to you this week, Donna, when I see you later this week. Some of the demonstrators who are on my Stampin' Up team and I are going to take a trip to Wisconsin and meet with some other demonstrators and hopefully come back with a lot of ideas to share with you. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think that's all the business I have for you tonight. So we're ready to jump right in and get started with the project. Very nice of you, Emily. Thanks for supporting the others. Okay, I'm looking for my scrap paper right there. Okay, we're going to turn the camera down and get started. So if you're going to get seasick, close your eyes. Here comes a spin. And loosen something else and get you down on the table and lock you in place. There we are. Okay, it's a little farther than I want it to be. Pull, pull. Okay, so the stamp set that I'm working with tonight is called Stay Warm. It's a photopolymer stamp set. Stampin' Up is no longer, after the next batch of releases, it's no longer going to be making the red rubber stamps. They're all going to be photopolymer. So for those of you that love that, that is a perk for you. I'm looking so that I can tell you. This is found on page 56 in the mini catalog. Stay Warm. And it, as I said, reversible stamps. So what that means is you have, for instance, with this sweater, you've got this detailed image and then also this solid image. So you could use them separately or you can use them together. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I've got like the start of 3 cards that I'm going to actually make with you and another one that's finished that I can show you. So lots of ideas tonight. Okay, this is a card base of Timid Tiger. And let me think here about what I'm going to do. Let's just do the stamping part first. Right, that makes more sense so we can tell you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a piece of Very Vanilla that I have die cut using the Stylish Shapes dies. And I'm going to slide a piece of scrap paper underneath me because we're going to do some stamping off today. So I need my big sweater stamp. And it is a good size sweater. And I'm going to stamp that in Cajun Craze for the first card. So we're just going to ink it up and stamp right on my square, like so. So there's my sweater. And then I'm shuffling a lot of things on my table today. I'm going to go ahead and just clean that with the chamois. And then pull the stamp off and reverse it. It's a reversible stamp. So I'm going to flip it over. And it looks the same. You can still see the detail. But if you feel it, now I've got the smooth side. So I'm going to ink up, this time in Timid Tiger. And my Timid Tiger ink pad is really juicy. And so it kind of, it leaves it inks unevenly, which I don't love. So I'm trying to get it inked up well. Okay. And then that's more color than I want. So I'm going to stamp off, meaning press it on scrap paper, get some of that ink off. And now I will line it up and add some color to my sweater. Voila. All right, you can see I didn't get it perfect, but it works. Okay. So there's my sweater. I'm gonna mount that on a square that I've cut from Cajun Craze, just slightly larger than the die cut. This is the largest square in the Stylish Shapes, which is why I didn't use another die to cut the Cajun Craze square. But the beauty of squares is it's no trouble to just cut one without any fancy measuring. So there's that. And then I did the same thing with a couple of socks. And one thing I love about doing the socks, because it's a pair facing opposite directions, is I did Cajun Craze with this one. Let me see if I'm remembering what I did correctly. Nope. Clean that off. Flip it over. Yeah, now it's going the other way. So I can use the other sock. If you reverse the socks, because they're not symmetrical, they'll be facing the other way. Oop, wrong ink pad. But you have two socks, so you just use the other sock. And again, stamp off, get the extra ink off. And there's my sock. Okay? So that's the reverse stamp stamping. Now let's turn these things into a card. Hi, Donna. Thanks for joining me. You won a card, Donna. So I'll get that to you this week. Okay, this is a Timid Tiger card base. I have a basic beige layer, 4 by 5 1/4. Actually, this looks like it's a 1/16 of an inch larger than that. So I can tell because my Timid Tiger is slightly smaller. And then I cut a piece of Designer Series paper from the Country Lace paper pack, which is on the last chance list. It's marked down, but I thought that that subtle design. It's kind of like supposed to be like an eyelet, but it reminded me of sweater and I liked the color. And I meant to cut that down to the right size, but let's see where I want to put all my things. And then, so we've got our sweater here. And I'm kind of casing, with this card, I'm casing something that my friend Stephanie Flath, who's another demonstrator, shared on her page. Here are my socks. I fussy cut the socks. There are no dies for this. So that's going to kind of be my layout. But I do need to trim. I need to trim this layer. This one, sorry about that. Because I want that to be the same width as this layer. So I'm just going to snip it off. Okay. And because I have Timid Tiger ribbon, I thought to add a little bit of texture, I'm going to bring in that. And instead of going on top of this DSP, I only want a little bit of it to show as a border. So I'm going to attach the ribbon and then the DSP. So somewhere like around there-ish. I'm going to flip this over, add some tear and tape to attach my ribbon. Tear and tape is my preferred adhesive for ribbon. And if you've seen me create, you know that I like to put the tear and tape parallel to the side of the card, like that, so that I don't have to line it up perfectly with the ribbon. I can simply fold it over and stick, and it's going to hit the tear and tape, except when you get it crooked. Should have paid a little more attention to that, getting it straight. That's better. Okay, so I've got my ribbon there, and now I can attach this to my card base. You're welcome. Donna, you got the one from the YouTube video. Oh, so actually, Donna, if you don't mind, I'm going to hang on to that until after World Card Making Day, because that's going to be one of the samples. So I won't give it to you this week, but I'll stick your name on it and help me remember that it's yours after World Card Making Day. Okay, so we've got my layer there. Now the DSP. Look, that's another great, I feel like that's another great print to use with sweaters. And I like that this, actually, I'm going to do some more. So I did the perimeter of that DSP layer, but I'm going to put a little more glue right there above the ribbon, because I'm not sure if this hits, if that glue hits right on the ribbon, I don't guarantee that it's going to stick real well. So I want just the tiniest edge of that ribbon to show. So there we go. And then our square. I'm going to do one in the middle too, because it's a largish size square. Get the backs off of the dimensionals, and we'll stick that down. Some people I know don't like the wonky, so you could certainly make it square if you wanted it to be square. My socks are going to go kind of like that, but before I stick those down, I'm going to stamp over here a greeting that I'm copying again Stephanie Flath's inspiration, and she used words from the Choose Happy stamp set, Got all these great little sentiment builders. And we're going to make it say, Happy Fall. Feel like there are also some sentiments in the All About Autumn that would be great with this. So that landed there, so I'm good with my socks being right where they are. So now I will attach those. Sock, sock. And there you have sample number 1. Thanks, Donna. Way to have a great attitude. So here we go. Card number 1. That's that. Okay. What else was I going to show you? Okay. For card number 2, I'm going to use the socks again. So let me clean those real quickly. And sit tight 1 second, please. My computer screen kind of locked up. I'm just not seeing comments. Okay, clean sock. If only were that easy in real life, right? Clean sock, 2 clean socks. Okay, I have here a piece of lemon lolly. And there we go. That's better. Thanks. I'm glad that you like it, Emily. Okay, lemon lolly. And we're going to totally switch gears with the colors. And I'm going to pull in Blueberry Bushel and Azure Afternoon. And I'm going to just randomly, let's see, let me start with the Azure just because it's lighter. I'm going to randomly stamp socks. Okay. Different directions. Let's see. So those are some Azure. Oh, here, let's do one facing the other way with Azure. And then do a few in Blueberry Bushel. So I'm going to stamp off a little bit, but I'm not worried about cleaning my stamps super well because I'm putting a lighter blue onto a darker blue, and I'm feeling like that's not going to contaminate too much. Whoa. Again, trying to get them going different directions. Something like that. Okay. And then, again, I could reverse these and fill them in. The other option is to use your Stampin' Blends. You could color the socks. So, using multiple yellows and blues, I picked a Lemon Lolly, a Daffodil Delight, an Azure Afternoon, and a Blueberry Bushel. You could color the socks, which kind of allows you to get the heels and the toes different colors. And I'm using blue and yellow and just socks because in March there is, I forget, I think it's March. I should have looked up the actual number and I didn't. So sorry. But there's a day in March that is Down's Syndrome Awareness Day. And the way they celebrate is with what they call Rock Your Socks. And you're supposed to wear crazy mismatched socks for Down syndrome awareness. And I have a niece with Down syndrome, and so I like to acknowledge that day and send her a card. Now, it's not till March, but we've got the socks. So I thought this would be perfect for her. Blue and yellow are the colors for Down syndrome awareness. So that's where I came back, came into the blue and yellow idea. I'm glad I'm back, Emily. Hang on. Hopefully you all are not losing me repeatedly, because on my screen I keep freezing. So let's see here. There we go. Okay, so here you see I colored them in assorted blues and yellows. I'm going to then add a sentiment to this one from a stamp set called Throughout the Year. And it has the perfect sentiment for this. Sorry, I just set my blue ink someplace else and I had to find it. This one says, "You mean so much to me," which is a perfect thought to go along with this card. And I picked a die from the Nested Essentials pack. Ran that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I've got this with the nice stitching around the edges that I'm going to use. But first, again, with some ribbon, huh? Oh, wait, one more thing. I've got a few holes here, and I pulled out the little hearts, the triple heart from the Be My Valentine. Just because it's tiny and it's hearts, and I can fill in some of these gaps. Look how cute that is. Oh, I love it. Ta-da! That's a nice addition. Let's see. Oh, here's my ribbon. The ribbon, the blue ribbon that I happen to have is Cloud Cover. So I didn't use Cloud Cover ink, but with my random blues, it still blends in well. So we're going with that. Too many things on my table. And again, as before, I'm going to wrap these around to the other side and attach the ribbon. So you can use the reversible, or you can use a color medium to add color to your clothing items. And there's one other way yet that I'm going to tell you in a moment. Okay, I've got the ribbon on, so now I can add some glue. And we'll get this one layered up. I always just do, I don't know why, but I feel the need to just do a little bit of extra glue around the ribbon to kind of make sure that it's sealed in. I've never had trouble with it, but it's just one of those things that you do because you do. And that is a Cloud Cover layer there. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, I see that it's... Oh, now it's back. Donna, is it better on your phone? One thing I will say that I've learned with when the screen freezes, as it appears to be doing tonight, when you watch the playback, generally it runs smoothly. So I'm going to proceed as if it's not freezing, and we'll hope for a smooth playback when it's all over. So forgive me if I don't see your comments or don't respond to your comments immediately. So we've got blueberry bushel, cloud cover, and lemon lolly. And we will use some dimensionals on the sentiment. I'm really pleased that it occurred to me to look for that little heart and get those hearts on there because I love that too. And I did see Emily's comment that it would be a good card for gifting socks. I feel like this whole stamp set would also be great. You could make a gift card holder if you were gifting like a gift card for a clothing store. This would work well with that. Okay, a few embellishments. I could tie a bow. I could do a bow. I could do embellishments. Options. Okay. Since this one is going to Miss Mabel, we're going to do a bow on this for her. Assuming I remember come next March that I made this for her. Okay, hang on. If I go. Just going to do a knot instead of a bow, but just a little extra texture there. I feel like texture with clothing images is important. And we could still add some embellishments. These are Opal Rounds assortment. And these are, I might take your pick tools in the other room still. These are probably navy. However, we've got that mixture of blues. So you see how well it goes, it coordinates anyway. And we'll just slide a few of those in there. I always overanalyze where to put the embellishments. Okay, we're going with that. So there is card number 2 with just the socks, colored with blends. And one more, and then I have another finished one to show you. And this one's almost done also. But I'm going to just do the sentiment first this time because I wanted to point out Stay Warm does not have sentiments. However, you could use, as we did, the Choose Happy, any kind. There are lots of sets that do have sentiments that would work well. This one is called Snowflake Kisses. I believe this might be an online exclusive. It could be in the catalog. I'm not 100% sure about that. But Snowflake Kisses has a lot of sentiments tied into being warm. Winter is warmer when we're together. Happy winter. I'm using Be Warm and Well. There's also Sending Warm Hugs and a couple of others. So this sentiment set coordinates really well, I feel like. So I just stamped that in Shaded Spruce. And so I have a Shaded Spruce card base. I have this designer series paper is from the In Color family paper pack. So we'll blob it a blob. We'll get this layered on. I like this. I mean, it's strawberry slush, obviously, but I like this splotchy look. Kind of makes me think of a snowstorm. And this time I colored with Stampin' Blends on, stamped it on basic white. I blanked out on basic white. I stamped it on basic white and colored with blends. So you see, you can use multiple colors when you're coloring your clothing. I saw another demonstrator make a card where she colored the sweater to look like a candy corn using pumpkin pie and daffodil delight and just leaving some white. That was cute. So these obviously I fussy cut because I wanted to pop them up and because I wanted them stamped on white so I could leave some white. But how cute is that, right? And then I've got embellishments, shaded spruce embellishments from the Shades of Green hexagons, which is shown in the annual catalog with the turtle stuff. I would really love to talk to somebody who has a method to deciding where to put embellishments, because that is not me. We're just going to do this. And ba-boom. Card number 3. How we doing? So Emily also says using her phone. Donna and Emily both said they're using their phone. I'm curious why it would work better on a phone than on a computer. But anyway, card number 3. And then I also have this one already done. Another sentiment from the Snowflake Kisses. May the chill of winter be warmed by love and friendship. So I've got the sweater, the hat, and the gloves stamped in Melon Mambo and is this called Pretty in Pink? I know we had a Pretty in Pink. Am I mixing? Yes, Pretty in Pink. And then I used the little heart on the inside with Sending Warm Hugs, again from the Snowflake Kisses set. And then the final thing that I wanted to show you about the reversibles, we talked about how you can do the reverse to fill the color or color with blends. The other option is to simply, hang on, I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to stamp on white and I'm going to stamp on DSP and we're going to see how it looks. This is Fresh Freesia, but you don't have to use the pattern side. Okay, that one didn't stamp so well. Let's try it on here. And this might be too light. I might need to actually, hang on. I'm going to switch to a darker ink. So if you have a printed paper and you don't want that printed design, that's, let's do a sock instead. If you don't want the printed design, you could simply stamp the solid. Now, my blue ink is darker than my Fresh Freesia paper, so that's not the best example, but you get the idea. So that if you used a lighter ink on a darker paper, just the solid, then the design of your paper would shine through the ink. So I don't have anything else at my fingertips to use that as an example, but I will make up something that I can show you what I'm talking about. So here's what I've got tonight. 4 fairly quick cards. Thanks. Yeah, I apologize for the freezing up. I'm going to adjust my camera now. I'm going to spin it. I'm not sure why that is happening. when I the last couple of days when I watched movies using the phone, not the phone, the smart TV, I was having a lot of buffering. So it might just be the internet here at my house for some reason. But if you're having a lot of freezing, I apologize for that. Extra thanks for hanging with me through all of that. And again, hopefully those of you that are catching the replay don't have to deal with that. But that's what I have for you tonight. I wanted to point out what it means by reversible stamps. So hopefully we've got that covered, and also show you that it can certainly be a wintry card, but it doesn't have to be a wintry card, and it doesn't even have to be a seasonal card. You can do a lot of things with that stamp set, and I hope you do. If you happen to have it or get it and make something with it, I would love for you to share. It's always fun to see other people's creations as well. So, I'm not seeing comments again. Locked up again. So I will simply say thank you for joining me tonight. Hope you enjoyed the projects. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. And I look forward to seeing you back here next Monday for another Make It Monday Live. Have a great week.